And we went a lot of years where we couldn't find one guy that was MVP. Jay Gibbons, okay, he hit a couple of homers. He's our MVP. Adam Jones played every game, got some Ripken in him, played every game this year. Gold Glove in center field, and all those big hits and extra innings. Every home run he seemed to hit tied the game or put the Orioles in the lead.
And he got that new contract, and you would think, well, maybe there's added pressure.
No, he didn't back off. It didn't do anything to him.
And then in right field, we have Chris Davis and a bunch of others, huh?
Yeah, the deputy will go out there, better known for his bat than his glove, but he's been okay out there.
Yeah.
And that's all you want. You don't want him to hurt you. He hasn't. Indy Chavez, the late inning replacement, a left-hand bat as well. The interesting thing about this lineup now, going back to 25, is who gets to stay, who's helped you this year, and you have to say, sorry, you're not on the lineup. But remember, they can reset the 25. If they win tonight, they can reset it for the divisional series, then they can reset it for the ALCS, and then again for the World Series.
Okay, and Matt Wieters behind the dish, I think this guy has blossomed. Not only is he a hitter, but he's the pitcher's best friend.
I think if we took Buck in a room and said, who's the most valuable player on this team?
I'm right with you.
Not to take anything away from Adam Jones, he would say Matt Wieters. I mean, the Orioles have had 50-some guys in uniform this year. The pitching staff, what have they had, 15 starters, I think? It's a new starter every day. And the guy who's called all those games has handled all those pitchers, has thrown out the runners at second base, and has also led the team in RBIs. No, Davis passed him this week, but for most of the month of September, 80-some RBIs. Matt Wieters,
and a catcher coming on in September. Whoa. All right, I think we have Christian Schaefer live for us down at in Arlington, Texas, for the site of the Orioles-Texas Rangers game, and there he is. Say hello.
Yes. I'm here in the hotel room, Jamie. How's it going up there? Weather's nice down here in Texas, though. I kind of like it.
Now, we heard there was going to be possibly some rain tonight, no?
Yeah, it's a possibility, but, I mean, I still think they're going to want to get this game in. I mean, you don't want to be pushing things back and back and back unless they really have to. I think they're going to try to get it in.
Yeah, in my experience with rain in Arlington, it's usually a hellacious storm that comes through and tears everything up for an hour and blows everything out of the ballpark, and then it settles down. And usually you do get the game in.
Everything's bigger in Texas, you guys.
How many Oriole fans have you seen down? I know Steve Jeppy. I mean, he is 7 Steve Jeppies. They're all over the place.
Yeah, he was following. He followed him down to Tampa, and then he followed him over here to Texas as well. I did see a bunch of them last night around the Orioles team hotel. I think it's typically like that on the road. Fans will be looking for autographs over to a spot like that. So there's some. There'll be some in there when they sing the national anthem. You'll hear some people chanting "Oh" during it. I can guarantee you that.
You've monitored radio or TV down there, but the Rangers have kind of settled into this two-time defending American League champions. They get swept a 3-game series by Oakland. I'm sure there's a little apprehension here in Baltimore, maybe with Joe Saunders on the mound tonight, but I got to think that they're a little edgy there.
You should hear the tone, Scott. I know you've been doing the talk radio long enough now. The talk radio down here is about a collapse. There is nothing positive going on the talk radio. And, of course, they can turn all that around tonight if the Rangers were to win this game. But, boy, people that are calling in are angry, confused. They're criticizing Ron Washington. They're criticizing Josh Hamilton. They'll criticize anybody. The tone down here with regard to the Rangers is very negative. I mean, they were leading their division the entire season. The Oakland A's didn't lead it until the very last day. So, yeah, it's a tough crowd down here. If they get down early, I tell you, that crowd could turn on them. You could hear some boos down here from the Rangers fans. It's funny, you were talking about Matt Wieters in the clubhouse the other day in Tampa. I watch enough games and I listen to enough games on the radio, and I see people. And every time somebody tries to steal on Matt Wieters, I just think, what are they thinking? Because he constantly throws them out, and it's almost the point where it's annoying. Like, why would you even think you could steal? So I asked him in the clubhouse. I said, Matt, are you surprised when anybody tries to run on you anymore? And he said, yeah, I am a little surprised. But not a second later, he turned it around and said, but the reason is the pitchers have been so good at holding on the runners onto the base. And so I think that tells you a couple things. Number one, he's full of something, because I think his arm has a heck of a lot to do with throwing those guys out.
Sure.
But number two, that's the type of leader he is in the clubhouse. He's willing to deflect all that stuff right back onto the pitching staff.
Well, I was talking with my good friend Dave Johnson, everybody's good friend, and I said, what is the difference between Steve Johnson, who had he was a good, he pitched 7 innings, give up 6 walks, maybe 4 Ks in the minor leagues, and all of a sudden he's been lights out.
Yep.
Matt Wieters. How many times, Stevie, have you shaken Matt Wieters off? He said once, and I learned. I threw a high, curveball. It was slugged out. Matt Wieters behind the dish, and he doesn't look over to Buck. He's calling that game.
He's calling the game, yeah, and Buck talks about that all the time. One of the things with the Rangers, Christian talked about Matt throwing runners out. They got a couple of guys that run. They're going to swing hard and try to hit home runs. Elvis Andrus, their shortstop, probably about a 30 steal guy. Ian Kinsler runs a little bit, but they're not a team that runs a lot. They're a team that gets on their back foot, swings hard, and tries to knock it out into the Texas night.
Do you pitch Josh Hamilton tonight?
Yeah, I think you do, but you got to be careful. And I think as the game extends, Buck's going to have a very deep bullpen with several left-handers in there. Troy Patton, Brian Mattis. I'm not sure if Wei Chen is going to be active or not tonight. He's another possibility, but you're going to have left-handers out there that you can match up with him, especially if the game's on the line. But, run around second, first base open, give him 4.
That's right.
Walk down
Christian,
there.
Are you left-handed? You may be in the night.
I am.
You may pitch tonight.
I can get him. I'm good for about 5 pitches.
All right, just keep it down low.
I think people are talking about Joe Saunders. The guy's a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there, and everybody's going to talk about his record versus the Rangers in various years, and you got to throw that type of stuff out the window. If he throws a good game today, and what do they need from him? 5 innings? Do you need 6 innings?
It might be 3 or 4, Christian.
Yeah, it might be 3 or 4.
With a deep
Absolutely.
bullpen, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's and it's his turn. He's on normal rest. He's ready to go. He's a veteran. He knows how to pitch. He's left-hander, a little bit of cagey veteran status. So I don't think it's a big surprise that he's going to get the start. And I wouldn't. But on the other hand, I think he's going to get a quick hook if it doesn't go well. And I do think the Orioles are going to need to score some runs here. This guy Darvish looks great, but trust me, those 3 games in Tampa, there is no way this guy Darvish can pitch as well as any of those 3 guys.
You are right about that.
Hey, those were unbelievable. And even the Orioles were talking about, especially that middle game, the one they won when Shields was pitching. My goodness. Jim Thome said that's the best game he's ever seen pitched, or one of the ones in his, 22 years.
He's seen a lot of games.
Well, let's talk about Thome. Do you know that he's the last guy to play here when the Orioles win the playoffs? In 1997, he was a member of the Cleveland Indians, so he knows what it was like here.
And I think he and let's see, Omar Vizquel are the only 2 players still in the game that played at Memorial Stadium. He's been around that long, too.
Benitez.
And he's a very steadying influence in there. His locker is in kind of the corner of the clubhouse, at least on the road here. And it's kind of, some guys will come by and chat with him a little bit. He's in a spot where a lot of guys will kind of gather around there and just talk to him and get some, just a little bit of knowledge from the guy who's got it all. And he sits there and he answers questions honestly. He's going to say, if you ask him, look, were you looking for that changeup? He's going to say, yeah, I was sitting on that changeup and I took it out of there. He's the type of guy, he's not going to mince words. I really think that I just got to think he's just a big asset for the Orioles to have, especially in a 1-game playoff tonight.
And one of the most liked guys in all of baseball. He's just got a good heart. But I love watching games because you constantly see him in the dugout. If it's not Buck or another coach, there's 2 or 3 players around him, and you can tell he's not talking about what they did last night. They're talking baseball, and that is invaluable. That was the old way that guys did it. They'd stay in the clubhouse after the game and have a beer and talk baseball for an hour and a half. You don't see as much of that today, but with Jim Thome around, what an instructor and a role model for some of these young players about work ethic. They said that when he spoke to Dylan Bundy, one of the first things he told him is, you got to be on time. You got to get in there early. And they said the next day Bundy showed up at like 11 a.m. He was about 5 hours early. So I guess if Thome speaks, guys are listening.
We were out there, and he was there, I think it was a Tuesday night against Toronto. And we asked Thome, and Thome said, I told the kid, don't ever let me beat you to the ballpark. So he's there at 10:30 in the morning. There you go for it.
Yeah.
All right, and listen, online, we're at www.abc2news.com, and we're also on Twitter right now. Somebody tweeted out, I remember the 30-3 game. Let's get revenge.
Oh, gosh.
Also, there's a couple other things. Daniel Brown wrote in, Buck Showalter, Bill Belichick of MLB, hoodies at the press conference. He loved that.
Yeah. Buck had a line. They asked him something about the Oriole run differential for a team that did as well as you did. You know, the Orioles were minus in run differential forever, and he said, hey, when we lose, we do it right, you know. And the Orioles did get thumped some games where you had some 11-2s and 13-3s in there, but the fact they won so many close games, all those. How do you win 16 consecutive extra inning games, 11 of those on the road, when the other team is going to hit last? That will never happen again.
Right.
The 1949 Indians are the only other team since the turn of the century that have done anything like that, and I'm not sure they did 11 of 16 on the road like the Orioles
crazy.
did.
All right, here's a question we have on our poll here. Who do you think will have the biggest impact tonight? And we're on Amazing, this hashtag Amazing, and it is Machado and Saunders tying at 50%. Both will have a major impact on this game tonight.
Well, Joe Saunders, the starting pitcher always has a ton. Now, I would say this, the starting pitcher may have less impact in this game than you would in a regular season game, only because I think Buck is going to have a very, very quick hook tonight. I don't know if it's in the second or third inning or the fourth inning. Hopefully Saunders can go 7 shutout innings and you turn it over the bullpen for the 8th or 9th. Probably not going to work that way. I think Buck is ready to empty that bullpen in the 3rd inning if he has to. He's not going to let the starter go out there and give up 6 earned runs.
Mike Kruger, biggest day of my sporting life.
Wow, that is terrific. You know, the thing that I love about this, Jamie, is the young kids. The young kids, the lost generation, 15 years where if you were a Baltimore baseball fan, you didn't really have a team to be proud of. And they heard their fathers and their uncles and their grandparents talk about the great Oriole players and Brooks and Boog and Palmer and all the great ones. But now the young kids are coming out. They're wearing orange, they're at the ballpark, and they're excited about this baseball team. And I think that's the best thing about this incredible summer of 2012.
Here's one. Tyler writes in. Big one tonight. Let's see here. Let me go. Erica Bolton, Orange Friday. Timmy Jones says, good luck to Chris Davis. Go deep tonight. How about that shot he hit in Tampa?
They said 455. Get the tape measure out.
Right.
That's about 40 feet short.
Here we
Does
go.
purple go with orange? I think you got people in town who are showing some Ravens, and they got the orange top and the purple bottoms.
Hey, Darvish, we're coming for you.
You.
Chris writes in, got a mind like a steel trap. I remember that 30-3 game. Texas Rangers, we're coming after you tonight. We got South Carolina fans cheering for the Orioles tonight. Unbelievable. Get online right now on our Twitter account and also on our Facebook account. Let's go with the starting pitching.
Okay.
Who were the 4 starters last year? Jeremy Guthrie, and name the 3 others.
God.
You can't.
No, they were in and out. You had some Mattis here, and you know, a year ago at this time, I thought Chris Tillman wasn't going to make it. We'd seen him for about 2.5 years, and I said, of this bunch, I'm not sure he's ever going to get there. And turns out that he's probably the best of the bunch right now. So what do we know? I guess Buck and those guys had a little more patience than some of us as fans to say, you know what, this guy's got a good arm. We're not done with him yet. We're going to work with him.
Same with Mattis. You know, we could have given up on Mattis, almost did, and all of a sudden now he's a left-handed specialist.
He's coming in getting the game's best left-handers out on a pretty consistent basis, and tonight Hamilton might be that guy he has to get out.
But I think they ironed it down. Buck did. He ironed it down the 7, 8, and 9. Ayala, Strope, and then to Jim Johnson.
Well, now Strope, a little different deal now. For 3 quarters of the year, Strope was fantastic, and then lost confidence, maybe hit the wall a little bit. Whatever happened, and he's struggled some, but Darren O'Day stepped right into that spot.
Jim Johnson, the closer.
50-some saves, as good an Oriole closer as we've had ever. And
we didn't know whether he was middle relief, didn't know whether he was a starter.
Remember, he might have been a starter this year, except he hurt his back. And in spring training, they thought that might be too much. They wanted to make sure the back didn't give him some issues. They thought the bullpen would be easier on him than transferring him to a starting pitcher. Thank God they kept him where he is.
Unbelievable season. All right, let's put it up here on the board here. This is the turnaround that Buck has had.
Okay.
Look at this. What a season.
Well, you just swapped the wins for losses, right? 93 losses last year, 93 wins this year.
What has been the biggest difference, though, with his managerial style here?
Well, I think Buck's best trait, besides pushing, see, Buck is more than a manager. I think a lot of managers can take their 25-man roster and manage that team. I think Buck is very good at talent evaluation, and he's helped other people, Dan Duquette, identify and see what guys do best. But I think the biggest thing he did when he came in here was change the losing culture. For 15 years, they couldn't win, and we had a lot of reasons why. Was it the owner? Was it the American League East? Was it the scouts? You know, you kept pointing finger. Was it the manager? Well, you went through a lot of managers, a lot of GMs, a lot of things changed. This team didn't win. And Buck got here, and he said, no excuses. We play in the American League East. That's not going to be an excuse. Tampa got rid of that. You know, they won in the American League East with a small payroll. So I think Buck changed that culture of this team couldn't win. The players bought into it first, and now I think us as fans have bought in.
This is a great question. Great question. Okay. Ready for this? What's the outlook like if we have the lead after 8 innings? Do we pull in Jim Johnson to get 6 outs?
To get 6? I don't think so. I think
Torrey used to do that a little bit with Mariano.
Yeah, but it's possible, but I think he trusts Darren O'Day there.
Okay. All right.
And part of it's matchups, too. I'll tell you another thing, Jamie. When they lost Troy Patton for almost a month and a half, he was so valuable to this team, a hard-throwing left-hander that matched up great against left-handers, but also got right-handers out. When he went down, I don't think we knew it was going to be 6 weeks when it happened. I thought that might have been something that kept them from getting to where they are today, but other guys picked up the slack.
We've got fans in a panic. Nicole, I'm very sorry, Nicole. Realized this morning that I have nothing that is orange and work appropriate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she said.
She's got that orange bikini, but she can't show up in that, right?
And Sarah is now where to watch the wild card game. That is the question. Well, we're going to be down at Mother's tonight. You're joining us
I'll be
down
there. Yep.
I think we're also at Glory Days in Glen Burnie. And Larry, where else are we tonight? I think we're somewhere else too. We got 3 places.
You got to come and see us, but they're also, I know.
Looney's, where? Looney's in Bel Air, so we'll be all over.
Terrific. And also Dempsey's at the ballpark if you're in that area. We're inviting fans down.
Scott says, today feels like a day to download. Thank God I'm a country boy. There you go.
Sure.
Put that on there. Let's go. Ryan Wagner. Tonight, Della Rosa's in White Marsh. Drink specials. Oh,
Ryan.
Chris Hoyles is coming out there. Olivia. Let's see. Comment from Brand. I turned 23 yesterday. Last time I was excited about baseball, I was celebrating my 8th birthday at the ballpark.
Yeah, you're the part of the lost generation.
Lost generation. Yeah. There's also been a turnaround at the ballpark, I think. It's great to go out there where the last couple of years, you know, the feeling just was not there.
I'm with you. I'm with you. You'd go out and look at 40,000 empty seats on most night. The Yankee game, the Thursday night Yankee game, I think it was the Palmer statue night. And I didn't get down there for those festivities. But it was the night the Orioles jumped out to the 6-1 lead against the Yankees. The ballpark was full. It was sold out. And it was orange everywhere. Everywhere you looked, you saw orange. A smattering of Yankee fans.
How about that?
And now comes the 8th inning. It's a 6-1 game, and the Yankees scored 5 times in the 8th inning. Derek Jeter's up. The game's tied 6-6. First and third, Jeter's up. I've seen this story 20 times. He fouls 4 back. The count's 2-2. Base hit to right. The Yankees win, and we go home, and they're screaming. All the Yankee fans leaving the stadium. They get Jeter out. Was probably the biggest out for Darren O'Day in his Oriole career.
Right.
They get Jeter out. Adam Jones hits the home run in the bottom of the 8th. The Orioles hit a couple more home runs. The place went crazy. I had a guy sitting down in front of me. I'm in the press box. When Jones hit that home run, it was as loud as I've ever heard Oriole Park. This guy had about an 7 to 8-year-old daughter on his shoulders. And as he spun around, she was looking at me, and I made eye contact with her, and I saw eyes like this and said, she will never forget this night. She's a fan for life, and she will never forget that moment.
Christian's still with us. I'm sorry, Christian.
I am. I'm still here. Yes.
Would the maid come in? What happened?
Yeah, what's happening?
You know, I'm trying to get.
I thought it was 12 o'clock checkout. What are you still doing there?
I'm confused by this Central Time Zone thing here.
Roy, that's Roy. There you go.
What time is it anymore? I don't even know. The game's on it. They keep telling me the game's on at 7:30. I'm like, what? What is? Oh, okay, yeah, okay, Central Time. Right.
What do you think the biggest game was this year, Christian? The one that
that's the one that Yankee game was huge.
Yeah.
When they had that comeback, they lost the lead, but then they still won it. You know, everyone down here was hoping was going to be the biggest game would have been these ones over in Tampa, which they could have won the division with. And you know what? If they can beat the Rangers tonight and then play the Yankees in a series, I mean, I hate the Yankees as much as the next guy, but you really got to give them some credit for holding on. There was about a bunch of games where the Yankees could have just collapsed, And the Orioles have played really well this last month and could have overtaken the Yankees. They did not fall apart, at least not yet. And so, yeah, if the Orioles get a big win tonight and can take on the Yankees, what a series that's going to be. That's what a lot of the Orioles have been talking about. Yes, they've made the playoffs. They're excited. They want to bring one home for the fans. They want a home playoff game at Camden Yards. How great would that be?
I agree. I think that's the ultimate payoff. And I don't know where this thing is going. I mean, can they beat the Yankees? Yeah, they can. They have this year. But
sure,
just to get it back here and have at least 2 games where that place is packed and you feel that excitement, I just think they've done enough already. We shouldn't demand anything more. They've given us one of the best summers of our baseball lives. But if they could bring that back, I'd be thrilled to see a couple games here in Baltimore.
And fans have got to be excited. I mean, I've seen Dylan Bundy is here. You see him walking around the clubhouse wearing his Baltimore Orioles uniform, carrying a bag. You know, he's here. He's part of the team. I don't see him going anywhere. He's already gotten into a couple games. Not only is this a team with every opportunity to do some damage here in the playoffs, but look, next year, Manny Machado is going to be, 21 now. Dylan Bundy's going to be probably in your starting rotation. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this, the pitcher they took the next year, Gaussman. A good chance he might be there as well. So there's a lot to be excited about right now, tonight, at Mothers for Orioles fans, but there's a lot of optimism, too, going forward. It looks like there's a team here in Baltimore that could contend for quite a few years.
Yeah, we've got a winner to talk about that, but I'm very curious to see where they go from here. I mean, I'm not sure they can come back with exactly the same team. And there's young pitchers here, and I think they'll still be competitive with the same team. But now, attendance is up, interest is up. Can you do 1 or 2 kind of things to bring in a pitcher or a position player that fans go, wow, we're all in? I think when they signed Adam Jones, that was a signal from management. We're all in. We're committed to Adam Jones. Adam Jones could have gone back to the left coast, played for the Dodgers or the Angels. There would have been a lot of teams after him if he hit free agency. He wanted to stay here, and they made a commitment to him, a substantial commitment, and I'd like to see a little more of that this offseason to say, hey, this isn't just a one-year deal. We plan to be
Josh
competitive.
Hamilton's available. Left field.
So is Shields, the guy that threw the great game at the Orioles the other night.
Hey, Christian, listen to this page on our Amazing, the hashtag Amazing page. I'm so nervous for the wild card game tonight, like sick in my stomach, anxious. I think she speaks for everybody.
Well, you're boiling it down. I mean, that's what's strange about the wild card is that it's a one game. I mean, you can't predict what's going to happen over a 162 game season. Nobody predicted the Orioles would be in this position. How can you predict what's going to happen in one game? I mean, it's almost like a crapshoot. What could happen tonight? And I think that being the case, that's where the importance of Buck Showalter's just steady hand is got to come in as an advantage for them because they've just been doing the same thing. They look at it, and he talks about it all the time. He says, look, I'm looking at the next at-bat. I'm looking at the next pitch. He's got all his players thinking that way. If they can get through tonight in that vein, the way they've been going, they're going to be successful because they've been successful all year. All they've got to do is keep on doing the same things they've been doing. Sure, fans are nervous. I'm nervous. I want to see them do well. But I think the players are just taking it in stride. And I think that's the leadership of Buck Showalter there showing through. And if it shows through tonight, we'll be back in Baltimore playing the Yankees.
Well, you got a do or die game tonight where the loser, it's over for that season.
Right.
I went back, and you're pretty good at this. Maybe you can help me out. I think there have only been 3 of those games in the history of Orioles baseball here in Baltimore where it came down to both teams play and the loser's going home. 71.
Pirates.
Game 7, right?
79.
Pirates, and 82. Last day of the regular season. The Brewers and the Orioles, Sutton against Palmer.
Palmer's walking out.
Earl's last game.
I thought, no way. And then Robin Yount hits that opposite field. I can still feel it. We came baback. We won 3 games, the doubleheader and then the single game.
But in the,
Harvey's Wallbangers.
Yeah, that's right.
Almost 60 years of Orioles baseball, there's only been 3 of those games in Baltimore. Tonight they have one of those games in Texas. So they don't come along every day.
A couple weeks
ago. And you know what's interesting about it, too, is this wild card. People talk about, well, this year there's 2 wild cards, and, the Orioles are technically the second wild card because they were, they have to play this game on the road. But in actuality, this is a game that would also have happened last year. The Orioles and the Rangers have the same record. and so there would have had to have been a play-in game.
Playoff. Yeah, you're right.
Wild card. So it's almost like, yeah, you're the second wild card, and this is a strange new situation for this year, but it's a situation that would have happened even under the old system, that you would have had to play this play-in game. It's the Orioles have earned everything they've gotten this year.
Absolutely.
They have not been given anything, I don't think, by anybody, including in that last series against Tampa. Joe Madden tweeted out during the series, he said, look, we're going to play as hard as we can. Buck wouldn't want it any other way. And boy, did they ever. And so, yeah, nothing has been given to this team. They don't expect it tonight. The Yu Darvish is going to be tough. Joe Madden said it himself. I was listening to it, one of his little news conferences in the dugout this week. He said, nobody's going to give you anything. You have to take it. And that's what the Orioles are going to have to do tonight.
You know, I think baseball got it right, too, because think about this. We got 2 wild cards. You've got 2 games today where the loser goes home. There'd be a lot of eyeballs on that 7th game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Loser goes home. And also, it kept other teams in the hunt in September that may not have been part of the pennant race. So, you know, baseball has less playoff teams than other sports, and I think this is actually a good move. Now, if the Orioles lose tonight, that one game, I'm not going to be a big fan of it, but I think they got what they thought they were getting with this extra wild card.
And if the nationwide audience hasn't seen the Orioles, they weren't expected to be so good, so they haven't been on national TV a lot this year. You know, welcome America to this season of the Baltimore Orioles, because they're going to get a look at them tonight. Adam Jones, Matt Wieters, they're going to see him live and in the flesh. So it's going to be an introduction for them. Hopefully they can pull it out.
Cal Ripken in the booth on the broadcast tonight.
He better be one-sided too. Let me tell you. Hey, we're going to let you go, Christian. Get ready, Amanda.
Yeah, I'm going to go over the park and see if anything's going on over there and try to find fans. And Buck Showalter's going to have a news conference this afternoon, but it's not till 5:20, I believe.
Eastern time, or
no? That's Central. Yeah,
so I think an hour late.
It's gonna be a little too late to get it on the early shows, but I'll try to tweet out some stuff that he says at that and give you a sense. Most games during the regular season, the clubhouse opens up around 3:30, 3:45, and you can go in and talk to the players and get some stuff before the games. That's not the case in the playoffs. The clubhouse will not be open for players. So it doesn't look like I'll be giving you some interviews from Adam Jones and Matt Wieters and everybody beforehand. But I will try to be tweeting out some stuff that Buck says at his news conference tonight, which is 6:20 Eastern time.
Tell the sheriff and deputy we said hello.
I will do that.
Hey, Amanda, real quick, Amanda writes in, does Christian have more than 2 shirts? Because she's, she's worried about your wardrobe.
He's a well-dressed man.
Yes. This one says Channel 2, though.
Okay. So I've got the team shirt on.
Absolutely.
All right, good work down there in Tampa, and great work tonight in Texas. Go get them there,
Thanks,
Christian.
guys.
All right, he'll be on tonight, live 5, 6, and 11 for us.
Good assignment.
Let's talk a little bit about home runs here. DeCinces, 79 with the
the Oriole
that really
Magic
kind of started.
Yeah, kicked out Oriole
Devo
Magic.
had the big hit, a big home run, and Cal in 89 against Clemens.
Yep.
Which home run sticks out this year, or the one win?
I think the Adam Jones home run against the Yankees. To me, I sat there kind of slack-jawed that night.
Yeah.
It was like we waved the magic wand over the ballpark. Suddenly, all of that nonsense that we've been through, the losing, the empty stadium, the stadium was full. Oriole fans were there. They weren't just there because it was a special occasion that, Cal was going to be honored, or Jim Palmer, or Brooks Robinson, or Frank Robinson. They were there because the team was in a pennant race and we were beating the Yankees. The Yankees! And I thought that night was perfect. I said, for one night, it was pretty special again.
Well, and how many times did you say, they don't win this game last year?
Yeah.
How many times you said that?
How about when I stayed up till 4 in the morning?
That was great.
To watch them win in 18 innings. I mean, some of these people, we're getting calls from people said I had to be to work at 5:30, or I woke up at 2:30 to check the score, found the game was still on.
I was listening.
And then I went down and watched the game.
What Jeremy was saying the one day, the guy got up to feed the baby.
Yeah.
And he came back, and the wife said, how's everything? Well, the Orioles won.
The Orioles won.
She wasn't ready for that. Tonight, we also ask on our the chat, the live chat that's going on, how far will the Orioles go if they win tonight? And 100% are.
They'll go right back to Baltimore. That's how far they'll go.
They're going to the World Series. Wouldn't that be something? I want you to go on at ABC. Well, you're on there now, but look at the live chat that we have. Brian Kubler just sent back a picture, and postseason signs are up at Camden Yards.
Nice.
It's a nice shot.
Got the banners up, right? Yeah.
All right. We win tonight. Who pitches Sunday night against the Yankees?
Wow.
Who do you go with?
You know what? Hamill's going to be in there. Hamill's going to get a start in there. They say anytime after Saturday he's good to go through 73 pitches on the side. I'm not sure whose day it is. Does Steve Johnson factor in now? Is the knee okay?
Right.
He's wearing a brace. Apparently passed all the tests. What was it, yesterday when they worked him out? Passed all the tests. So I think he's going to factor in there. Then you get back to Tillman and the top of the rotation guys.
Would you put Dylan Bundy on the playoff roster?
I might tonight, where I might use him out of the bullpen for an inning or to go get 2 right-hand batters. I trust Buck's judgment on that. There are going to be 2 or 3 starters that won't be on the roster tonight. All those guys that pitched the last couple of days, you don't need them. You know, you're going to add them when you come home to Baltimore. Dylan Bundy, I said that yesterday. I said, I'd like to be in the room when Buck and Duquette and maybe Rick Adair were in there, and when Bundy's name came up, how that played out.
What
do you think?
Give me 2 outs.
Let's give him a start. Well, no, we can't do that. Yeah, we'll get an inning for
We
us.
have, listen to this, Boyne. I hope I said that right.
Okay.
Boyne. It's 2:30 in the morning in Switzerland. He's going to be watching the Orioles tonight.
Awesome.
Is that wild?
That's a fan. Yeah.
There you go. First time in 15 years. Adam Jones just replied, I would say Flacco looks quite good in that buckled up shirt. That's good. Remember when Flacco was out there?
I'll tell you what, the fans love that, this cross thing. You're at the Raven game, and they show the booth up there with Cal and Brady and 5 or 6 Orioles. The place goes crazy. And then you're seeing the guys out in Owings Mills. We had Chris Davis on the show, and he mentioned the fact, you know, he goes, I was trying to kind of sneak into the football game, then they put the camera on us. I forget, he had a Flacco jersey on. And I said, funny, Chris, because I was in Owings Mills last week, and he had a deputy jersey on. He goes, that'd be great. But to see these guys...
What brought them together? Because when we won the Super Bowl... we won the Super Bowl, nobody's throwing out the first pitch. Billick's not even on the hill throwing out the first pitch.
That was a mistake. That was a mistake by Oriole management. I don't think that would happen today. That was a mistake on their part. I think the Ravens are embracing what the Orioles are doing. Orioles, I think, have always been kind of football fans. May not be Raven fans, but you like football. You're an NFL fan. You're a baseball player. But I think those guys are getting close, and they're pulling for each other, and I think the fans love that. You know, for a while around here, even on our talk show, there seemed to be this division that maybe you couldn't be an Oriole fan. Come on, it's Baltimore. If you're a sports fan, those should be your teams.
Absolutely. You know, I was looking back, and I was thinking, 1975 when both were in the playoffs.
That was probably the last time, because the last time the Orioles were good, 96, 97, the Ravens were just starting. Those were 4-12 teams, and they weren't very good at all. The last time we probably had 2 championship caliber contending teams would have been those Burt Jones years in the mid-70s when the Orioles were still, you know, annual contenders.
And the last time, and it was 1970 when the Colts won it, the Orioles won it, the Clippers won it, and the Bullets almost.
And everybody lost to New York?
That's right. Everybody lost to New York. Unbelievable.
The Jets and the Mets.
Let's take a look. Can we see some of the keys? Can we roll up your predictions for tonight's game?
You know, on paper, it doesn't look good. Just the pitching matchup. You Darvish is what you would term an ace. The Orioles don't really have an ace. Not a defined ace right now. The Orioles, the sum is greater than the parts. That's what it's been all year for this team. I said you've got Wieters and you've got Jones. Those are 2 all-stars. The rest of the guys kind of fit roles. Reynolds will get hot for 2 weeks. Chris Davis came burning down, rapping home runs in September. Manny Machado gave you a big lift. Hardy's a solid guy at short with some power. On paper, the pitching matchup doesn't look good. Joe Saunders, 0-6, a 9-something ERA in Texas. I trust Buck. I don't think he's going to throw Joe Saunders out there to give up 7 earned runs in 2 innings. If Joe Saunders is having trouble getting people out in the first or second inning, he'll go to the bullpen. Tommy Hunter, Steve Johnson, whoever he needs to go. And once you get around the 5th inning, he'll start playing the matchup game where Patton's going to get an inning, O'Day's going to get an inning, Johnson hopefully closes it out for you. Texas got the edge. They're at home. They got the better starting pitcher, but I'm not counting out the Orioles.
No way. All right, here I think J.J. Hardy is going to be a star of this game.
He's your pick to click?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's
I'll put you down for that.
Either with the bat or the glove. Joe Saunders will be Mike Flanagan tonight. Joe Saunders will mow him down.
The crafty left-hander, the veteran who knows how to pitch.
And I think we're going to have a big inning in the 6th inning. Out of respect for Earl
Weaver. You sound
like
Ali. He's going down in 6, right?
Out of respect to Earl Weaver, I think we'll take it over in the bottom of the 7th, and then we hold it on for the 8th and 9th.
Well, if you're going Earl Weaver, there must be a 3-run homer in there.
That's right.
Maybe that's Hardy,
There's got to be. But how about the unveiling of the statues in parallel with the season that we're having.
Pretty ironic, right? And it would have been nice anyway. We're going to come out to see Frank and Brooks and Cal and all the great Orioles. But to have that happen when this team was playing so well, fans were showing up at the ballpark, pretty good. Yeah.
And when you've been out there, how many old friends have you run into? People that have all come back?
A lot. And I was getting calls early. We got to get out and sell that stadium out for Brooks Day when they moved it, right? Once they moved it to late in the season. It wasn't an issue. Team was in the pennant race. The ballpark was sold out. There was no movement, hey, we got to do this for Brooks. It was Brooks and the Orioles. And I think all those guys have embraced what's gone on. Eddie Murray, to see him come back and see, yeah, this is Oriole baseball. They're winning. The fans are here. It's good. It's been way too long.
Tell everybody about who's on your cell phone. Tell that story with Brooks.
Which one?
Brooks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did an event for him just a couple of years ago. And a day or two later, I see a message. It's from Brooks, and I check it out, and it's Brooks thanking me for doing the event and saying, Scotty, I know how busy you are. For you to come out and do that for Connie and me. And as I told him later when I called Brooks, I would have crawled there for you, but that's just the kind of person.
Still on his phone. Still on his phone to this day.
You don't lose that one.
Absolutely. Is there going to be a different hero tonight?
That's kind of been the year. I mean, it's McClout one night. You don't pronounce the H. It's McClout. Yeah. It's McClout one night. Adam Jones, you expect it. He's an all-star caliber player, but then it could be Reynolds. It could be Davis. It could be somebody coming off the bench. Andy Chavez with a gapper, in the ninth inning or something. This is a team that on paper, and you looked at that run differential, we were into September, and their opponents had scored more runs than the Orioles. This is really the definition of a team. They don't have an ace starting pitcher. They only have, I think, Jamie, one pitcher that threw over 125 innings this year. There are staffs that have 3 starters that are up around 200 or 200-plus innings. The Orioles haven't had that. What they have had is the best bullpen in baseball. Sorry, Oakland. You don't win 16 straight extra-inning games without the best bullpen in baseball. And they've had other guys that have filled roles, and I think Buck has been the guy to guide all this, to push the right. How about Taylor Teagarden? He's got about 7 hits, and I think 5 of them have won games. Wieters needs a day off. Teagarden's 0 for 4, and suddenly, boom, there's a homer, a 2-run double to right. He's a game winner. It's been that kind of year.
It's been a magical year. How would you rank this in Oriole history?
To me, the best year I covered, I was here for 83 when they won it all. The best year was 89. Yeah. They started 88, 0-21. Right. They had a bunch of young players that hustled, and next thing you know, they're in first place, and we go all the way up to that final weekend in Toronto with Dave Johnson on the mound.
Right.
Ben McDonald, I think, got his first Major League win on the Sunday game that didn't matter.
Right.
But that year was just a magic carpet ride because it was so unexpected. They had lost 108, I think, the year before, worst year in Oriole history, and to see that team lead for most of the year and then finally get to Toronto and lose to a really talented Toronto team, I thought that was incredible. This year, I think, trumps it. This year, I think trumps it. A 15-year hole. Somebody said to me, well, I was talking about the excitement back at the ballpark in the full house for the Yankee game, and they said, well, we had that in the 90s. And I said, but that's what makes this better. We haven't had it for 15 years almost. And to have it back, it's like the prodigal son. He came home, right? And that's the way I felt about this year. And the other difference that I see with the 89 season and this one is that one was terrific, but it ended in Toronto. This one continues into the postseason. For how long, we don't know. It might be just one game, but this team got to the postseason.
We could talk about that 97 team, and that was a team of all-stars. I mean, it was Cal, it was Paul Merrill, it was Alomar, Erickson on the hill, Jimmy Key.
Messino.
That team was expected to win. This team wasn't. Isn't it better for sports fans when a team that isn't expected to win wins over a team that's expected to win and does?
Oh, I think so. And you've got another one out in Oakland that has done the same thing. Their turnaround hasn't been quite as big as the Orioles, but they're playing with a $55 million payroll. Bob Melvin, former Oriole, their manager. Their 2 top pitchers, Gio Gonzalez. They let him go. He won 20 with the Nationals. The other one was Trevor Cahill. He's pitching in the National League. Their best hitter, Josh Willingham, drove in nearly 100 runs last year. He's with the Twins this year. They couldn't afford to pay him. Their closer, Bailey, the guy that gave up the home run to Raul Ibanez, they lost him. So they lost a ton. They have a $55 million payroll, and they go and sweep the Texas Rangers 3 games and win the division. Now, all of us who've watched the Orioles all year know that Buck Showalter is the manager of the year.
Absolutely.
But I guarantee you, Bob Melvin's going to get a bunch of votes for the job he did, plus the fact that Oakland actually won their division, where the Orioles are a wild card team.
All right, listen, we've taken you up on www.abc2news.com.
We used up all the air in the room, right?
That's it. So we're just getting you set for tonight's game. We'll be live tonight at 5, 6, and our special at 6:30. We'll be live down there at Mother's.
I'm going to be there.
Join us.
Yeah.
You're on the radio this afternoon, getting everybody
3 to 6.
pumped up.
Yeah, on the fan.
I think we're doing it. This town,
I'm feeling it.
The lid's about to come off.
It's great.
And the Ravens beat Kansas City on Sunday. And then we come back
and then
Sunday night.
Next week we come back and we've got the Yankees, we do that, and then the Cowboys come in on Sunday, we beat them.
It's great
I'm loving
to be here. Everybody pace yourself. We got a long time to go, but let's go. 8:37 tonight. Thanks for coming in, man.
Good seeing you, buddy. I love the tie, too.
Thank you. 83, baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll see you tonight. We'll see you online, see you on TV. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Go O's.